Hey guys! So in this video we are going to compare Node.js and Swift. So let's get into it. Now this is like the weirdest comparison, I think, because I honestly, I don't really know in what scenario you would think to consider Node.js or Swift. It's almost like apple and oranges. It's very like the use cases are extremely different. But nonetheless, we are going to make a comparison. So, what is great about Swift? Well, apart from it being a million times better in every single, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit opinionated here, but good gosh, Objective-C is a horrible language. Swift is like a godsend for us who wants to do iOS development without pulling out our hair. I don't like Objective-C. Swift is very nice. It's probably one of my favorite corporate types of languages. And I would say that overall, I quite enjoy working in Swift actually. It's really nice. Having named parameters is great. Having first class functions, you can actually do Lambda functions. That's also absolutely amazing. What else? What else do I like? Oh, the optional systems. Oh, that is like the best. Like they have the most beautiful. I'm actually very happy to see that there's a discussion going on right now to include the question mark syntax, which indicates that something is an optional value. It could be there, it may not be there, into JavaScript. Because damn, JavaScript needs that. Like he should have had it 5 years ago, at least. Anywho, those are some of the best things about Swift. And the only real downside to that platform, apart from it still having, it really doesn't feel like Swift is a first class citizen to Apple. I don't know why, but and it's probably not fair to say that because Objective-C is older and it's been around for a longer time and so forth. But even Xcode, like there's all these things, like they're working on it, but sometimes I feel like it's almost not ready. It feels like, oh, Swift is like, you have 100% support for everything in Objective-C, but Swift is still, it's almost 100% supported, it's almost done. So to me it feels quite a lot like a work in progress, very often to work in Swift. And that's not so great. Some libraries and so forth, as I said, like they're a little bit behind on some things. It's okay, I can forgive that, because overall it's a very nice experience. Another thing that is a little bit odd, I think, is that since it's kind of Mac specific, and I would really have to I would struggle to find a reason to use Swift for anything apart from iOS development. I don't think you can't convince me that it would be like, because some people are pitching the idea that we can do server-side Swift, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think you can, of course, but I just think that's a bad idea. You're kind of clutching at straws here. I don't think so. There's so many other options out there that would be a better fit for server-side development than basically trying to write something in Swift, and then they have to figure out a way to run that on all the different platforms. Maybe if they come up with a solution close to Java's JVM, I will concede and say that that's probably a good idea, but then I would kind of question why you wouldn't just go with Kotlin immediately, because they're kind of already there. Anywho, overall, really nice language. Then let's talk about Node.js. So what's great about Node.js? Well, Node.js is probably the trendiest solution there is. Like, it's all JavaScript, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that, hey, it's all JavaScript. The bad thing is that, hey, it's all fucking JavaScript. And you see, I find that I am probably the most productive in Node.js when I'm starting with a fresh project or anything like that. And to be honest with you, to this day I still haven't had a job which didn't require me to at least have some knowledge of Node.js, because it's so tightly coupled to everything that's going on in the front end. And because almost all web applications have a front end of some sort, you will often find a package JSON on your file system, like in the project, which means that having Node.js as an expertise or something that you know is very, very attractive in the job market. It's also, as I said, it allows you to work very, very quickly. What's not so great about Node.js is that the ecosystem is massive. It is so massive. I mean, I recommend most juniors to start with JavaScript because it will allow them to do the absolute broadest range of things. But the problem is that it's also one of the most diverse ecosystems that you have. So it takes a little time to get into things, unfortunately. So that's not the greatest thing. I mean, Node.js is like that platform is not something that you learn in an afternoon. Definitely not. However, it's still, I think, it's probably one of the most important things to learn overall in modern development. What are other things that aren't so nice? Well, there's no types, which is like Swift has their typing system. Swift has a very nice typing system. I did mention the name parameters. Like name parameters are, that's great. That's really great. JavaScript and Node has none of this, which means that once you get to a certain size, that's why I was saying earlier that I use it for productivity at smaller scales, but I try to avoid using Node and JavaScript for really large projects, because if I know that I'm going to have a really large project, or I'm going to work towards a system that is very complicated with a large size code base, JavaScript is not a great choice unless you use, say, TypeScript. If you were to tell me that, yeah, we're going to use TypeScript and we're going to build it all in Node, I would be fine with that. If you adhere to it, if you strictly adhere to using a type system, then I'm okay with it. So TypeScript all the way, or I won't. It's a no-go for me. So when would you use one over the other? Well, I would say this. If you do iOS development, use Swift. If you do anything else, use Node.js. It's that simple to me. I don't see, if you have to pick between the two, just go with that rule, because I don't see any. It's almost laughable to consider Swift for anything that isn't iOS development. In theory, you can do it, but it's not a great idea, because as I said, like their hardware requirements and so forth. And honestly, Apple are nowhere near close to building the sort of support system that is required for that to work. Like, say, Java. Java has the JVM, and that works very well for like a multi-platform solution. Swift is not there. They're not. But Node is. Node works everywhere, and it's all JavaScript. And depending on if you think that's an awesome thing or a horrible thing, well, there you have your decision. Have a great day.